Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello there. I feel like my hair got really big today. I went for a
I
walk
was good.
today and
It's
my hair got really
good.
big. Like,
You have big hair. Well, you
like,
kind of have. I have big hair. I
it's
haven't settled
big-ish.
now. You have big-ish on the sides, not so much, but
Yeah, this is what I call I have a haircut scheduled tomorrow. So like I have an undercut. And so I've had an under
uh,
and
we
that
gonna.
means
I'm a preface only to those who are
oh yeah,
watching.
please girl, you tell them
So
about my ghetto Wi-Fi. That's fine.
Keyshawn has ghetto Wi-Fi tonight. Would you like to explain? So just in case if it goes in and out, just be patient,
I will let them know
everyone.
this
Yes.
is a dual hosted conversation for a reason. So yeah, the short version is I live in a huge apartment complex, and for those who live in huge apartment complexes, you might be able to relate. But it all boils down to huge apartment complexes get huge bonuses if they decide to go into contracts with internet companies and require all of their renters or tenants to enter into a contract to get internet service as part of their lease. So we have a shared network with all 1,200 residents.
1,200 residents. Keisha, I'm sorry. A shared network, guys. So those y'all know. Come on now, when you pull up the networks and how they have usually like 50, you guys are all on one.
Mhm,
So yeah, that already. Well,
mhm,
I want to introduce this because those of
yes.
you who are like, well, who are these two?
And what are
My
they talking about?
right, why are they talking about shared networks? So I'm Kenya, and good grief, you'll get to know so much more about me if, well, by just watching. Long story short, I am a holistic self care, thrive, astrology coach. I'm also, and I'm a certified health coach, so I do have a back training actually in it. And I'm an educator, I'm an artist, a singer, and a songwriter. And in this space, um, I'm here to really talk, or I'm here with Keyshawn for us to really just talk. Just and that's why it's called Black Her Story. Like so rarely, and both Keyshawn and I are over 40. I'm actually 50. She ain't hit that yet. I'm gonna start saying 50, because I want people to really appreciate. And I just know there's just rare spaces that we get to at this point of our lives, just sit back and tackle a topic. And so we'll talk about the topic in a minute, but I'll let Keyshawn tell us just a little bit more about her, and then we'll get into tonight's show.
For sure. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Everyone who's watching this live or watching this later, I am Keyshawn Rains, and I am the Calm Coach. And I connected with Kenya during quarantine, and we've remained connected. And like she mentioned, this is an opportunity for two Black women to sit down together for an hour a week to check in with each other, to share resources, experiences, ideas, and hopefully anybody who tunes in and watches this leaves with something they didn't come with. It's a little bit
Yeah.
of inspiration, a little bit of information, a little bit of direction or something. We do not have it all figured out. I am
No.
also a
This is the space that we get to
do
not
not
have
have
it
it all
figured
figured
out.
out.
We are
Okay.
not coaching in this space.
We're not
We're
coaching
just
in this
talking.
space.
Yeah.
I am also a professional coach. My specialty is in wellness and holistic health. I also work in mental and behavioral health as a peer support specialist and a consultant. And this is a space for me to just get vulnerable and courageous and hopefully share stories and experiences that will offer support to another person. And like Kenya mentioned, I am over 40. I'm in that apparent, according to some, I am midlife. So here I
You
am.
are
I am in my
midlife,
midlife.
girl. It's so funny. You just realized yes, I think they say, I want to say they say 40, maybe 45. I don't know. But yeah, I hit that a while ago. So I'm like, I'm not elderly yet, right? No. But anyway, yeah. Yeah.
I guess I didn't think of it as midlife either because my eldest living relative is my grandmother on my father's side who is 96. So I'm like,
You still have a grandmother alive. That is massive. That's my both my grandparents have been deceased for, I mean, my grandmother, the most recent, I guess, grandmother passed. She passed when I was in college, so I
Okay.
was like 21. So, and then my grandmother
Yeah.
before that passed away when I was like 12 or 13. So
Yeah. I had both of my
it's
grandmothers
huge.
until I reached 40. And
Oh
then my
wow.
maternal grandmother transitioned about 5 years ago. Her birthday was
Mm,
just this past Sunday. Happy birthday, girl.
nice. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then my paternal grandmother turned 96 in February.
It's amazing. Well, we want to get in tonight. We have the topic scrolling. Before we get into it, say hi to us. I do believe we have, and I always pronounce Damio. Am I saying that right? Yes. Okay. She's saying she's teasing about.
She's teasing it's Damio. It
Yeah,
sounds fancier than the
Damio.
leasing.
Yes.
Damio Lee. Yes. Hi.
Yes, yes, yes. About the whole internet thing.
Oh, the ghetto
Yeah,
internet.
yeah, the ghetto
Hmm.
internet. But
Yeah.
if you please feel free to chime in, ask questions. We'll have a time where we can kind of pull up your comments and your questions on the screen so that we can address it. And she said, damn yo, DAMN/yo. I got it now, damn yo. I
We got
got
it
it. I
now.
got it. I got it.
Oh, that's my mom. Hey,
Hi
mom.
Daria. Hello. Is Daria or Daria?
It's
See?
Daria.
Okay,
Hmm.
I was like, I think I got it. I think I got
Yeah,
it.
it's like
Hi
hard
Daria.
A's on
Yes,
it.
hard days today. So we have our topic scrolling across here saying scheduled calls with family and friends.
Mhm.
Yay, man. Nah. So we're going to get into that in a moment. But before we do, we always start off with what's a hot topic, a current event, something going on right now that you're just been kind of like, Keyshawn, and I'll share something real quick and then we'll get in our topic. But
Well, the hot topic for me today, as a content creator who is active on social media, was the congressional hearings
yes,
with the CEO of TikTok and members of the United States Congress for the purpose of determining whether the US is going to implement legislation that would give the US government the right or the ability to ban
yes,
the use of this app to American citizens. And as of right now, there's over 150 million
yes.
Americans who use TikTok. And what was interesting is I tuned in for the whole hearing. It was like 4
Oh,
hours. So it just kind of
wow.
was playing in the background. I was doing other stuff.
Right.
And what was so interesting to me was how just the I call it the lack of a trial etiquette. You know,
Mm.
you some of these congressmen and congresswomen, congresspeople, their etiquette was just trash. I was like, "Can you guys make it any more obvious that you are badgering this man because he is not American? Can we
I mean,
just talk about
I
that?"
think that's the point. Like, I don't
Yep.
even think. I mean, I think that's kind of the point. I mean,
Mhm.
I didn't watch it. I read that they were having the hearings, and I read a
Mhm.
little bit of the blurb and kind of what's going on with that. But it's always just this. It's a circus. Just to me, I don't know.
It was what I found was interesting, and I typically don't tune in for things like that, but there was something like, let me just see what this
Mm-hmm.
is about, like what it's going to look like. And it was as expected to an extent, but it was also a little bit embarrassing because
Mm,
it was so obvious that, well, if you're paying attention, it was so obvious that the whole point is not about protecting the children, which is part of the rhetoric that they use often. They use the same rhetoric when they were trying to ban CRT. They wanted to
right.
protect the children from American history, apparently. And so they want to protect the children from, the use of this app that might give them access to harmful content. And the part that was so interesting was so many of the Congress people were mentioning the fact that they were parents or they had screened parents. And my thing was, well, when you were screening the parents, were they scrolling on TikTok or were they talking to the kids? Were they parenting their children when you were talking to them or were they on TikTok? Because I'm wondering, as a parent, who introduced my child to technology when he was a child,
Mm,
there was a conversation around the internet, things that he might find on YouTube,
absolutely.
things that he might
Right.
see. There were restrictions to the amount of screen time that he had. There was open dialogue. I didn't just send him out into the internet, to the World Wide Web, as we used to call it, without any protection. So it
Right.
was interesting that these Congress people were trying to put the responsibility and the accountability for all access to the internet
on this
on this
man.
one man, this one man
Who
who is
started his
just the
little app.
CEO of the corporation. That's it.
That's it. And I mean, I did not watch it. I did read. I tend to read news more than I watch, only because
Me too, usually.
I
Yeah.
just, but you know, the little blurb that I read was saying that really supposedly this is because of access to, you know, people's private content. Like they basically that ultimately there is a fear that China, because the CEO, right, is based in China, or this all
Well, he's
started this.
actually based in
He's based
Singapore.
in, yeah, that's based in because it's Singapore and the US is
The
where they
parent
have their,
company of
right,
TikTok is a Chinese corporation.
right,
What was
right.
interesting with that, even that angle, which was interesting, was for those who don't know, okay, anything on the internet, every URL has the capability of gathering your data.
Absolutely. Yes.
Anytime you put in your name, your phone number, your email address, your birthday, that's called data gathering. Some people call it data mining. So anywhere on the internet, your data can be gathered. And if we look at just this small little segment of the internet that we know as social media, every social media platform gathers data. And truth be told, one of the biggest thieves of data, if you want to call them that, is Amazon.
Oh my gosh.
They
Yeah.
gather and mine and utilize and sell more data than any other platform on the entire internet.
Yes. Yes.
So there's that.
So and we literally could do the whole show. I'll put
Yes, but
this
yes,
up.
that was my hot topic for today.
No, damn you. So it's because US has beef with China and has their eye on them just in case they pop off. Yup. That's the bottom line. And that's what I was gonna say when reading it. This is really more about the US versus China and all of this, and trying to get another layer of having some control and so forth. All right. Well, I'll keep my hot topic really short so we can get into the main, discussion today. So have you used Chat GPT yet?
Every
Are
day.
you?
I'm a subscriber. I have Chat GPT Plus. I've been using it since September of last year.
So those of us who are like, what? Where'd it go? No, I have heard about it. I have fiddled with it. I have definitely fiddled, but I am in education and higher ed where students have to write papers every day, all day, and get grades, to get degrees, to get careers, to get money. And so this is adding a very interesting twist in the world of higher education. So I didn't mention that, but I also have a faculty appointment and I'm an administrator at a university. So, but to me, no, I have no problems with it. If you do not know what Chat GPT is, then yeah, see, Darius like, what is that? Chat GPT. Basically, it's an AI. And Keisha probably talk about this better because she's had it since September. But it's basically a technology where literally you can put anything. Basically, you can go to the site or have the app or whatever and say, write about Black women and their, and I put this just to see what it was going to say, Black women and their need to heal. And it will say, Black women have faced racism for da 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 da. And it basically writes out a whole like essay for you. It can write a whole book for you. It can even include the citations. If you tell it, write me a 10-page paper on cellular biology with citations, APA style.
Yeah.
It can give it to you.
Yes.
So those of us who are in business, I think it's amazing. I mean, if you are, adults and your Chat GPT is that girl.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because maybe we can talk about that on an episode, because I come from I'm on the side of the conversation about the use of AI or the integration of artificial intelligence in general. I'm on the side of the table of, I guess, a futurist when I think of it from that perspective. When someone asked me recently, like, how do you explain what Chat GPT is? I said Chat GPT is to text what a calculator is to numbers.
Yeah.
So we think about it from the perspective of mathematics. Before the calculator, the only tool that someone could use other than their brain to do complex mathematic equations was, I guess,
Oh,
an
I like
abacus for
this.
addition and subtraction, maybe. But then eventually somebody made a calculator. And then another person made a scientific calculator that could actually create not geographic. What's the other word I'm looking for? I hate math, FYI.
Oh,
Geometry. I
geometric,
failed twice.
geometric, yes.
Geometric outputs by putting in certain formulas into a calculator, and the geometric output would give them the correct answer, and they would be able to decide, oh, this is what I need to study. So what I noticed with ChatGPT, it's from the world of academia, it is getting a little bit of scrutiny because people are, in academia, some folks are saying, well, wait a minute, if as an educator, I'm certifying someone's knowledge based on their individual ability to read these books, cite these sources, spew
Yes.
out these essays. If they're having AI do it for them, how is that really a measure of their intelligence? And I'm like, well, it all depends. Maybe we could start judging their ability to write the prompt, because the
Right.
prompt itself is what
Well,
determines
right.
what
Well,
the output's going to be.
and so this is what we had a whole faculty, a whole university conversation about
Oh, I'm
this today.
sure. Oh man.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
and the thing is this, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. I too am on the side of nope, bring it on, because
Yeah.
we are, and one, astrologically, this is just so fascinating because we're moving literally into
At like
another
light
stage,
speed.
like at light, and we're watching it.
Yeah.
So 'tis the season. We're going to see a lot of technology do some very interesting things over really the next 20 years. Pretty strong, pretty strong, because Pluto has moved into Aquarius. I'm not going to move into that. Let's just say that Aquarius is the energy of we are tearing shit down and makes new stuff. We don't want to do this old stuff no more. We need innovation. So it's what it's going to challenge high schools, K through 12, higher ed, businesses, everybody's to change their antiquated processes. We can no longer, do you realize how long the curriculum has been what it has been in 12th grade? Or in college,
for at
or
least the
in
last 35 years.
no more. But I was right. It's been there. It's been the
At
same,
least.
the same
Yeah.
little desk.
Yeah.
I'm saying. So it's going to challenge people to know in, because we are going to have to completely, yes. When you're talking about, all right, now grade them on their ability to create prompts, or now grade them, on, and you, yeah, as a teacher, you're going to have to change your teaching style. So yes, that's a whole other episode. We could really dig into it.
It's interesting because it's relevant to like even what we're going to talk about a little bit today when we think about scheduled calls with friends and family. Because when I first read the topic, I was like, I immediately thought of my scheduling apps.
Okay, so this is why. Okay, so Keisha and I, we mentioned this last week. We have a list of 3 million topics. Okay, so you guys will never have to worry. Although we want to hear yours. So if you have some topics that you want us to dig into, please email info@findingyourvoiceafter40.com. I'll put that up again at the end. But this topic, I had put this down: scheduled calls with family and friends, yay, meh, or nah. Because I had a friend get very upset with me because I told her this is the deal. For me, when I'm not a big phone talker, but when I do talk on the phone with someone, I don't want to be distracted. I want to be able to sit down and I want to really be able to talk to you. I want to hear how you're doing. I don't want you to feel like I'm blowing you off. I don't want any of that energy. And it's really easy with my life right now, with the 320,000 things that I feel like I'm doing, for me not to be available if you just randomly call me. So that I can give you better attention. So this particular friend had called me and I was kind of in the middle. I said, I tell you what, it would be so much better. Let's pick a date. Let's pick a time, pick a date. And we're kind of going back, and finally she was like, I just thought as friends, we shouldn't have to do that. Like, I really shouldn't have to get on your calendar. I mean, I should be able to just pick up and call you. Like, I don't really want it to be so formal. And I said, I get that. I hear that. But the reality of my life is that we will always run into this. We will always run into this, like, okay, girl, yeah, okay, let me call you back. Okay, I don't know. It's going to be that. And I don't want to do that to you because I actually love you too much. And I actually want to hear what's going on in your life.
Exactly.
And so she didn't like that though. And it's gotten better, but yeah, that's one piece. We'll get more into it, but what are your thoughts? And we'd love to hear those of you in the audience. What do you think about scheduling calls? Like literally put in your calendar with the time
Well,
when it comes to family or friends.
I will say this. This is yet another way that you and I are aligned. I am that person who has had many a feather a ruffled and many a feelings hurt when people say to me things like, "Oh my God, we should catch up. Oh my God, I would love to catch up with you." And I send them my scheduling assistant link, which is some AI. I send them a link and I let the robot tell them when I'm available. And when the robot says to be there, I'm there. I'm on time. I'm centered. I'm focused. I'm present. I'm available. I'm already interested. I already
Right.
care. Otherwise, I wouldn't go through the effort of creating. I literally have an appointment type on my scheduling assistant that is called a personal connection
Yes.
session. It is
Yes.
a time where I will set aside at minimum an hour. It's usually more, but set aside at minimum an hour for me to put everything else on silent. Because I'll tell you this, much like what you said, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been running my own business for almost a decade. I've had to become an expert, a master really at time management.
Yes.
And because of that, I've had to become really intentional and aware of scheduling things like rest, like we talked about last week, scheduling time away, scheduling personal time, scheduling time with my partner, with my family, with my friends. And I do that because I do want to be present for those
Yes.
conversations.
Yes.
Unlike some other people, typically the ones who get their feelings hurt when you send them the scheduling link, those are the ones who are like, "Oh yeah, girl, it's cool, but I'm over here. Okay, I'm put, right here. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, what was that?
Right.
Ooh, girl, ooh, that bitch must be crazy. They ain't listening. They ain't present. I'm not trying to be that person. You understand why we schedule the things? It's because
Right.
of that.
It's because of that. Yes. And yes, I even with my partner, he and I, we don't have a scheduled link for us, but we have specific times of the day. It's like, listen, I know when he has to be in bed because he has to wake up really, really early. And it's
Right,
like, I want to be respectful of his
right.
rest. And, we do not live together. Which is why we are really staying
You're like, that's
together, nice
really
and
why we have to
strong.
skip. Yeah.
but
We
but
don't have
it's
the advantage of like, I'll see you in the morning.
right.
No.
It's like, so he knows, for me, like, and he too is an entrepreneur. And so
Mhm.
it's like our evenings, and we're entrepreneurs, but we also have dedicated positions in other spaces.
Right.
So the afternoon and the evening is typically the time where we have to do our business stuff. And
Mhm.
so we don't have a schedule link, but we know, okay, this is the time. And this is the thing, if I am on, like, my 10 o'clock is my time to talk to my partner,
Yeah.
and 10 by 10:30 he's like, good night, I got to go to bed, because he has to be
Yeah.
up really, really, really early, like a crazy
Yep.
early time. So if I am talking to somebody, let's say I had a call or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's getting close to the 10, I say, okay, I'm gonna have to end the call
Yeah.
in like 5 minutes, because this is the time that I get to talk with my loved one. And, this is the time.
Yeah.
So, and the same idea, it's, with my kids too, that I know they're teenagers now. They ain't thinking, one's in college, my other, we need about 3 minutes, I guess, to connect, because he's like, okay, well, I gotta go. I'm like, oh, you gonna put me in the schedule? Like, so
It's like, actually, depending on what it is you need, I might be able to multitask while I take care of that, because you're probably just asking me for some money. But if you're a
seriously.
teenager.
But when they were younger, it was the same idea. And my
Yeah.
friends who didn't have kids, is like, listen, when they're smaller, so y'all see, I have a crib right here. So this, no, I ain't got no baby. No, Jesus.
No, Jesus, no.
Praise the
That is not in my
Lord.
plan. Right.
Praise the Lord. I am keeping my great nephew.
Aw.
So this is my niece's first baby. I am in Dallas, where they are based, and while she and her husband have returned back to work full time, I
Mm.
am playing nanny
Oh,
for the week. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But point I'm kind of making is, when your kids are younger, and
mhm.
I'm she and her husband, they're figuring this out. It's their first baby together,
Mhm.
all of the things. But it's like, no, you can't just rock and roll like you're used to. It's like your schedule, the more you can schedule, or for me,
Right.
the more I feel like I have a sense of what my schedule looks like, the more I can relax, the more I can accept, the more, I get rattled when things are just random for me all
And
day.
it's interesting that you say that, because some feedback that I've gotten from, some friends or family, but primarily friends who are, chosen family, is why do you have to have everything so structured? Why does everything have to be so scheduled? And it's interesting because I recognize it's a design variance. Like my human design, the way I'm designed, structure gives me a sense of security, which gives me a
Yes.
sense of safety, which gives me a sense of peace. When
Yes.
things are too up in the air or too spontaneous, that doesn't feel like structure. That doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel peaceful. Whereas for others, structure feels stringent, it feels
Yes.
rigid, and it
Y-
feels limiting. And for those who may have a little bit of tinge of commitment phobia, or they're not very good with the management of time, they really don't like schedules, because
Yeah.
this idea
Yeah.
of accountability, responsibility, I said I'm going to be here, I said I'm going to show up, that level of expectation is too much for them. They're
Yeah.
operating very much in their divine feminine, very, very airy, very, very disconnected. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Never have been. Never
Yes.
have been.
And
That
and
ain't
it's
me, y'all.
that's no, same here. Same here. And I will say I am attempting to create more flow within Kenya,
Of
like
course.
meaning how
Yes.
how I do my personal just care of Kenya. And
Exactly.
because I'm the exact same as you, Keyshawn, like that
Yeah.
that structure, that's what helps me feel safe. But I realize when I do that too hard within my own kind of things that to take care of myself, then
Hmm.
it does get off. But when it comes to this whole kind of calling people, yeah, and family, I will say I have more wiggle room, obviously, with family. So like my sister, my niece, my mom, I don't care,
Hmm.
call me whenever, like seriously. But even
Yeah.
them, like my sister, because of her busy schedule too, she
Hmm.
is like, okay, let's put it on the calendar. When are we going to talk about blah blah blah? Let's put it on the calendar. Let's make it on a Saturday at this, and we'll say these are the hours. So she's of that rhythm too. So there's really not a conflict, with scheduling with her at all.
Yeah. And I
Um,
noticed that you mentioned family. So you have how many siblings?
oh, I know. You
Okay.
have 3,000,007. I have one.
So you get it. So even with there's 11.5 million of us.
You have
Okay.
11,500,000.
So if I were to give one day a week to each member of my immediate family, including my son, I would run out of days. So just
You're
1
right.
hour, 1 day per week, I would run out of days just for the immediate family alone. So this is why I use a schedule. This is why. And also, I mean, I like how you started the conversation, which was for those who are like, y'all are extra. Why you got to be so, why you got to be so scheduled? I like how you started the conversation with the intention is to create the space to really be present, because like asking yourself, for those who don't schedule calls with friends and family, I was having a conversation with my godmother who lives in another state, and a lot of my close friends don't live in the same state, let alone the same time zone as I do. I have friends
Absolutely.
who live out of the country. And
Yes.
so I was having a conversation with my godmother, and we have scheduled calls. She expressed to me recently how much she appreciated me putting her on my calendar and
Mm,
making her a priority, and saying, you know what, I really appreciate that we get this 30, 45 minutes, sometimes it's an hour of time where I'm sitting down, I'm not doing anything else, and I'm just spending time with her, just talking to her,
mhm.
sometimes usually just listening as she shares,
Yeah.
and like genuinely paying attention. And
Yes.
so I think that sometimes people don't realize it's not about the quantity. I don't want you to call me every day or text me every day just to shoot the shit. I'd rather have
Right.
1 hour with you a week where we're both fully present for that conversation. That's what feels like real connection to me. And
Yes.
that needs to be scheduled.
Yes. That's you. Yes, yes, and yes. We have a comment. So let me put this up
Okay.
here because I think it's Daria. She said, I just had a conversation today about scheduled time with ones versus going with the hopefully we'll get together soon. We know we ain't gonna get together soon, you guys. We're not. Because then now who's gonna initiate the get together soon? Who's gonna do that?
Exactly. And I think about it like this. This is in the context of relationships between adults. You know, for those of us who are parents, when our kids were younger, we might have, depending on their social life, arranged play dates, times for them to get together with their friends outside of school. Maybe our kids participated in extracurricular activities where they made friends in sports, or my kid was an arty kid, so he did theater. There were times after theater practice where he might say, "Hey mom, can such and such come over?" And it's like, "Well, you know what? Let me see what we got going on the next day."
Right.
And typically it would be scheduled for another time. In adult relationships, we don't have the privilege of running into each other at soccer practice or
Right.
seeing each other in class the next day, unless these folks are like coworkers and things like that. So taking the time and the initiative to actually schedule the get together soons, instead of letting it be we should get together soon and the next time I see you is at a funeral or a wedding or a birthday party
Right.
and that's it. I'd rather schedule the time.
Schedule the time.
Yeah.
So you said something. I want to go back to this because I do. So, we're going to get this is a little rub. You mentioned
Okay.
those people who may be having issues with commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I want to talk about that. And then also, I wonder some people, like I don't want to talk about the weather. Like you said, I don't want to shoot the shit. Like I've never ever, like, even when that age, like in your teen years or college years where you really did, I even then wanted to know your deepest thoughts of the day and why they came and how they came and where it came from. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is who I am. So before we go into the depth, but the
Okay.
commitment thing, I think, yes, I think people who maybe I'll just speak for my
You could just say it's your show, Kenya. We can say whatever we want.
that I just think that it's like if we put a time, then you have to actually commit to it. And it's not that you don't want to commit to me. Like I don't take it kind of personally like that,
No.
but I do think that that could be. So if you're someone where you really avoid, I wonder, I want to hear from you. Let us know. Are you someone who like, yep, I like to schedule? Or are you like, nah, I not so much, and it's not necessarily about commitment. It's just what is it? What is it about?
What is it?
Because
What
what
is
is
the it? Because I'm the person who I'm gonna ask the questions. Like when people give me the pushback, I'm gonna ask, well, why is it like why do you I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and this person is, one of those people who's like, ooh, schedule, yuck, I don't like it. And I'm like, but then I also get the dang, I haven't seen you in a while. I would love to get together. I'm like, schedule an appointment, partner. Let's put it on the calendar if you want to make sure that it's going to happen. And see, for me, I do take commitment very seriously. So even when something comes up that's a little unexpected, like a friend reached out to me over the weekend and was like, hey, do you want to meet up, and have a meal together? It wasn't on my schedule, but it was at least a day's notice. You know what I mean? And I was able to look at my schedule and say, actually, no, I do have some time. I'm super available. I was able to sit down, have a great meal with them. We spent a couple hours in deep,
yes,
intentional conversation because
yes.
I, like you, do not enjoy small talk. For me, small
Mm-mm.
talk is for small minded people, and I'm not one of those people.
Ah!
Okay. So when I'm going to spend time talking to somebody, I want to leave inspired. I want to leave educated. I want to feel informed. I want to feel energized. Otherwise, you're wasting my time. I'm not
Yeah,
here for that. Small talk is not something that I enjoy at all. Never have, never will.
yeah.
So I
Me
think about it from that
neither.
perspective too. I want to give somebody time, especially if it's something that's going to happen in person. Oh, I need some time. I need time to get there. I need time to be with you. I need a little extra flexibility just in case the time spills over. We might go from dinner to dessert to coffee. I don't know. Especially if it's somebody that I don't get to see often. And especially if it's somebody that I genuinely care about. And we're talking about friends and family here. Those are the
Yes,
people we care about more than anyone else.
yes,
So for us to make a commitment to make it a priority to create the space for these deep connections seems like a privilege and an honor versus a burden. So
absolutely.
Yeah, y'all got
Yeah,
communication.
no, it's so funny. We are exactly like this. So I'm in Dallas right now, which I love. I'm really loving the area of
Are you
Dallas
liking
I'm
Dallas?
in. I'm
Okay.
I'm 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 really kind of in a burb of Dallas.
Okay.
Whoops, earphone. But I like it's just I don't know. Well, the weather, I know that's a big factor with me living in Chicago and then being here, because it was almost 80 degrees today. So it's like, oh Lord, yes. But so I have some friends, I have some
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends who live here, and I did a post on IG. I kind of got a little, I don't, something had happened to me recently where I found out that from my past, some things were, I guess, out in the streets about me,
Mm,
in my community, my little suburban community about me. And I don't even know how long they've been out. I'm just finding out now. It may have been 20 years ago. I don't know. But the fact is, I know that in order for it to have gotten out, I only told this to a specific group of people.
okay.
So the fact that it's out lets me know, okay, well, I guess, but it's not really a big deal. That's not really what I want to get into. In my post, though, I posted a picture of a group of friends, and these are
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends who live here in Dallas. And so for
Okay.
me, too, I'm like, because I do want to have quality time, I love to go to restaurants, I love
Mm-hmm.
to have the moment and the experience.
Yeah.
Then, I initiate, okay, ladies, I'm in town. These are the days that I can be available. Are you guys
Mm-hmm.
available? What times do you not? And everybody responds right back. And I'm like, oh my God, thank y'all. Thank you. And if they
Yeah.
can't do it, they'll say, I'm not available
I'm
this
not
time. Can't do
right.
it this time. And it's funny because everybody responded easily, quickly, said what they can't do, what they can do. We had a wonderful time. We talked about all kinds of things. We got into each other's lives. We did fluffy stuff as well, but we got into each other's lives mainly. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I just appreciate nobody was like, late, nobody was like flaky, everybody stayed true to the commitment, of doing that. And this is my second time kind of us, me coming out here and them being available.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, to me it just is more than just scheduling time,
Yeah.
or just putting, having a schedule link.
Right.
It's about, okay, it's about how do we create these quality relationships. And I do
Right.
think our generation, this is different. Like I feel like the millennial generation, their friend situation is like they're really friend, like they really almost probably, maybe, I mean, what I'm hearing, and I'm not in that age group, but from what I'm
Yeah.
hearing, it's like, wow, you guys share everything. And I watch my niece and how open and close and what have you. But I feel like our generation X, it's a little bit different with the French. Like we got to peel and swim
Yeah.
before we kind of really sit in that intimacy. And
Yeah.
and everybody can, kind of shows up first like this, and then then we peel. So I don't know. I feel like my friends who schedule, who say let's put this time together, we have more meaningful conversations. We just
Agreed.
do. Yeah.
Agreed. I think I would have to agree that I think there's like a generational variance from millennials and Zoomers, from like Gen Xers and, folks who are like in the generation above us too. I think that we learned how to kind of like mask certain emotional experiences. We learned how to just kind of power through certain emotional experiences. And I think also for us, if you're of a certain age, you might have had a falling out with a friend. You might have had a family member who harmed you. You might have experienced a traumatic
Mm,
experience, depending on the length of
mhm.
your friendship, that might take you some time to kind of peel back those layers again and say, okay, this is actually what's going on with me. This is
Yeah.
actually what's up with me. And this is
Yeah.
also, I think, a benefit of having those friendships in the first place. Because for me, like you said earlier, small talk is a way of keeping things very superficial. It's a way of keeping things very like safe, to
Mm.
say like, oh girl, how's the weather? It's cool. I know there was a tornado in California yesterday. Okay, that's cool. All right then, bye. Like, where are we going from there? But to be able to know that you've scheduled time, a couple of hours, maybe several hours, to be able to sit with someone and genuinely say like, I see you, like,
Mm.
I'm here for you, and
Mhm.
I'm here with you for whatever it is that's going on, and I'm creating the space for this conversation to go in whatever direction it's meant to go in this particular time, so that when we leave this moment that we've both committed to, that we've both created, we feel even closer than we did when we came into this conversation. And I
Yes.
feel like that's worthy of dedicated time.
Yes. Absolutely. 3,000,000%. Are you the friend that, like, you're the main one that kind of initiates that kind of like quality time, or are you more of the type where, if somebody reaches out, yes, I will try to respond? Are you an initiator with that, wanting to have that time, or maybe not so
I've
much?
become this is funny. I'm laughing because I posted about this on social like last week.
I didn't see
Um,
it. Okay,
I,
I
po-
didn't see it.
I posted a reel last week that was just one of those moments, I call it a divine download, aha moment, where I was like, I'm not going to chase you for a relationship of any kind, friend, family, romance. I'm not chasing nobody.
Yeah.
What I will do is show up. I'll meet you halfway,
Yeah.
So to answer the question, I feel like I have certain friends that we have a rhythm in our communication. There's some friends where there's a check-in daily via text. It could be the form of a voice note. I have a friend that I'm practicing Spanish with. A couple of friends that I'm practicing Spanish with. I have a friend who I'm practicing Spanish with. So she'll call me, or not call, but she'll leave me a voice memo in Spanish and I respond in Spanish. And we might not say anything else for the rest of the day, but there's a check-in. I have
Yeah.
a friend who we walk together, once a week. That's our check-in. If we don't actually meet up for a walk, we'll send each other some motivational messages or
That's
something. I have
nice.
friends who
That's
send me
nice.
podcasts and playlists. So I have a rhythm with
You got
friends.
some good friends, girl.
I
That's
do.
that's seriously.
I do. I'm
You
really, and that's
do.
intentional. And a big part of that is me recognizing that I'd rather have fewer friends that I have deep connections with than a litany of people that I can just fill a room with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So for me,
Mhm.
I feel like the initiation is reciprocal at this stage. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's more me than it is the other person. But at a time in my life, I did feel like I was Inspector Gadget just looking for somebody. Like, hey, you available? You available? That was me. I was looking. I'm
She
not.
said I was Inspector Gadget. I love that. I,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I think I have historically been an initiator,
Okay.
but there's a big but with that now. And I'm
Mm.
actually in a process right now of even just understanding, what does connection really mean to me, and partnership.
Mm.
And I've always felt like I've struggled a little bit with friendship. And it's not because I didn't have friends. Like that wasn't the struggle. The struggle
Mm.
was kind of to the point where we were talking about, like, I've never been one, here my Scorpio self. I can't just understand that Scorpios are deep. And if you meet a Scorpio who is acting like they're not, they don't want to be bothered with you. Okay. That's just, I'm just
They don't
telling
want to
you.
talk to
They
you.
don't want to be
Yeah.
bothered with you. But if we are in the space,
Hmm.
we typically want to know a little more and a little
Yeah.
more. And we, maybe we'll verbalize it, but understand inside we want to learn a little bit more. So I've always been like that. The, and so with that, the other part of me
Hmm.
is, when I meet people, I want people to feel welcomed when they're in this space of me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to feel like I'm not listening or all that. Like, even if it's just a new welcome, I just want you to feel welcome. So I do
Hmm.
feel like I connect fairly easily with people, but that's a problem, because this is the thing. Just
Everybody
because
not your damn friend, Kenya.
that's
Not your
yes.
damn friend.
Yes. Damio says, stop exposing our secrets.
She's a
Yes.
Scorpio. This is
I
a
know.
Scorpio in the
I know.
audience.
I know. When I said it, I said, oh, I shouldn't talk about it.
No, tell the secrets. I'm a Scorpio rising, so trust me, I get it.
Oh,
I
that's
get it.
yes. And I'm a
Yeah,
Cancer rising. So, and she's a Cancer, you're a Cancer sun. So this is why we have this yin yang thing going,
we do.
which is
Yeah,
why I do have the nurture, like what have you. Like,
yeah,
I'm all about connection. However, for me, that doesn't equal we're necessarily friends.
no, ma'am.
And see, that I think is what's tricky, is
Yeah,
because I do connect, because I'm that person. I
yeah,
love people, I love relationships, I love connection, but that for me doesn't necessarily equal friend.
right.
Friend is something deeper for me. And so it's literally just been in the past, maybe since the pandemic hit, because so much happened and everybody kind of got a like, wait a
Hmm.
minute. And I know for me, for sure, how, and for me, when the pandemic hit, that was the start of my life as a single woman. And so that just created, I mean, there's been a lot of weird stuff with friendships for me. And I've always felt like friendships have been a bit challenging for me. I haven't talked about that a lot to my friends. And I think that they assume because like you see, and please, and you look on Facebook and see that I have the max friends. That's not because they're my friends. It's because I was doing music. I'm a public person, public figure or whatever. So that I don't know a lot of people. But so yeah, so that is another, so some people, I say all this to say that some people are expecting their scheduled call. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if we're really friends. I
connect talk to you. Well, and it's also, I think I can relate. I can relate wholeheartedly, astrologically, experientially. I can relate. I used to be like a tumbleweed, and I would just collect people everywhere I went. People, strangers.
I'm sorry, you are cracking me up with like, so that just reminded me of Charlie Brown, the guy, the Charlie Brown
little
figure.
pig pen. I wasn't dirty. I was a clean child. I was always clean and well kept. But I would just attract lots of people. And I was actually talking to a friend about this over the weekend, and she was like, "Yeah, you were like everybody was your friend." And it's like, "Oh, here's my friend. Here's my friend. Here's my friend." And it's similar to what you described, where I am a Cancer. And so when I tell you, Kenya, like complete strangers just start telling me their whole lives. I'll be at the checkout stand at the Trader Joe's, and I'm the person who will genuinely try to connect. Hey, what's up? I see your name tag. How you doing today? Joseph, how's your day? It's actually, it's not too good. Over the weekend, I'm like, oh, well, I really wasn't really trying to get all that information out of you. But I did ask, so let me be present for your response.
Yes, exactly.
And people also flock to certain kinds of energy. There was a time when I wasn't aware of how nurturing I can be. There was a time when I wasn't aware of how empathic and empathetic and intuitive that I was. And so it took me some time to really become certain about those abilities and those gifts and what comes with that, and why certain people would just be like magnetizing to me. And some of those people were not necessarily there for my highest good. Some of those people were energy vampires. Some of those people were drawing things away from me. And I'm over here like, friend. And they're like, that's what you think.
Okay, so that's a whole, now we're talking about friends, because I do feel like that has happened to me. Oh, you may hear a baby, the baby's crying. Just understand. Yeah, I don't know what gets picked up on the thing, but I'm not on duty. I'm off duty now. So,
you're off. Okay.
I'm off duty. But the whole smile in my face stabbed me in my back, like space. Like it's just, that has always been very, just really curious to me. And it's, my thing is, it's fine if everybody doesn't need to like everybody. That there's no need for that. That's, it's totally fine. But don't smile in my face then, and give this this energy of friendship, and then turn around and come to find out. I remember when I was in high school, there was somebody who, I mean, I could sense maybe there was a little something, but not, I'm just thinking, yeah, we're just not tight. Like, I mean, it's cool, whatever. We're not tight. Well, I come to find out, I found out later that this person had taken like pictures of me in the yearbook and took out my eyes and drew over. Oh my God, yes. People brought this to my attention, and I'm like,
there's a word for that. It is not friend.
I'm like, we've never even sat and really talked. And maybe I said something. Maybe I said something that was really off or something, and I don't recall it. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But bottom line, and we got about 10 more minutes to the hour is up. So we're going to wrap up in a minute. But yes, I am definitely of the yay schedule calls with family and friends so that they can be quality calls. And those of you who are connected to me, just understand. I know people be like, well, I guess I better schedule my.
Do I need to put my link in the comments right now? Because I will. I'll put the link.
Now, I don't have a link for my friends. I don't.
I use a link because I didn't always have a link. And then I realized that what was happening, and this came up a lot during the pandemic as well, because, we were at home and, that kind of thing. People had more time. I started incorporating a specific appointment type in my scheduling assistant, because another reason why I started using a scheduling assistant versus just like using a handwritten calendar or me manually putting appointments on my schedule is because I recognize like, oh, I think I got a little bit of forgetfulness syndrome, whatever
Yes.
that's called, whatever that is. And if I don't write this down on my schedule right now, there's a very large possibility I will
Yes.
forget.
I will
And
forget.
so
No, that's true.
but yeah, so I created the link for that. But yeah, I would agree. I think to answer our question for the topic today, I am also a yay. I do think that scheduling calls, scheduling time, whatever that looks like, if it's a FaceTime, if it's a Zoom, if it's a phone call. I have a friend who's in DC right now. She was in Columbia during last year. We scheduled what she called a genius walk, which was a time
Mm.
for us to just get on the phone for an hour. She's walking wherever she is in the world. I'm walking wherever I am in the world. And we would have such beautiful exchanges of ideas and just affirming each other. Sometimes we pray together. Sometimes we're crying,
Girl,
laughing, all these things. And I was
good.
like, she was like, she read somewhere that this is what geniuses do. And I was like, I like that. I like anything
I
that
would, and that is, everything you've inspired me tonight, because I
Yay.
see that my friendship situation, and like I said, it's something that's always been challenging for me, quite frankly. And I don't know if my friends really know that, because they probably be like, "What you talking about, Kenny?" But internally, it has challenged me, because I want such such depth in friendships,
Mhm.
and a lot of times I sometimes don't make that request because I know that not everybody is ready to give that, and I
Yeah,
respect that. But where I'm at now in my life, I'm like, well, then you need to draw in those who have it. You can't keep just drawing in people who don't necessarily have that, and then
right.
expect, and then now you're sitting here. And my therapist slash coach, we just had a session, and she was like, you have to learn to stop assimilating in these relationships. You're
Oh.
assimilating, you're not partnering. You want to be partnering and not
Mhm.
assimilating. And I'm like, oh, that's a
Mm,
good word, assimilation.
ma'am.
I've been assimilating. So
Mm,
I recognize that I have to be willing to only really have these types of friendships where the person
right,
does have the capacity to do that, so that neither one of us are left in these weird spaces,
right.
and I've had a lot of, once I have an actual friend, they stay with me for a long time. So
Yeah,
you do outgrow friendships. It does happen, it's
right.
normal. At the same time, I'm hoping that I'm gonna do some genius. I would love to have more of those types of calls where it's like, you're going for a walk, I'm gonna go for a walk. And I have a girlfriend where we did used to, but both of our schedules have gotten kind of wackadoodle. But I want to
Mhm.
do that more. I love it. Genius
A
calls.
genius walk. She sent me something. I'll scroll back and find it and I'll share it with you. But she sent me something that was from an article. Again, I also like really smart people. I have lots of smart friends and I love that because I
Yeah.
love learning things. She sent
Yeah.
me an article about a neurologist talking about the neurological benefits of walking outside.
Yes.
Aside from any other forms of, cardiovascular, all the other benefits of exercise, but something about genius walks, particularly in the morning, like
Yes.
first thing.
Yeah.
And then, she talked about like having someone that could be your partner in the walk. I like what you
Yes.
said, and thank you to your therapist. Shout out to your therapist and your coach, is being intentional about not assimilating in order to sustain your relationships, but
Yes.
recognizing like, how are we partnering? How are we adding value to each other's lives? Because I think like for you, maybe, and I know for myself, doing the work that we do, whether it's in a professional context or in a personal context in our relationship, I'm naturally a coach. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you,
Yeah.
even so I gotta be really intentional about not giving unsolicited advice.
Oh, Jesus, don't even.
But that's a whole
Oof,
nother topic.
that's a
But
whole nother
I have to be
topic. Good
intentional about
God.
that.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
those who are my friends and my chosen family and my family of origin, you know that anything that I give is coming from a place of love. Like, ooh, I found this thing. Let me also share this with you so that we can partner and growth on this thing together.
Yes.
But I like what you said about being intentional about not assimilating, because I know that life as well. Yeah.
I am the great assimilator. And I realize that. And we, particular, and as Black women and as women, just period,
Hmm.
that's very much of our, energy a lot of times. But I think as Black women, because of just so many reasons, we lose ourselves
Yeah.
in so many ways. We lose ourselves in romantic spaces, we lose ourselves at work, we lose ourselves even in friendships, and lose yourself. You have to, that's why I like the assimilation, because it's not that you technically are lost somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but that you are accommodating this situation so much that there's no space for actually you and
Right.
who you are. And
Right.
so, start having more partnerships with friends
Yeah.
where it's a situation where you are fully showing up as yourself, they are fully showing up as them, as their selves, and then your core kind of connection is that friendship, right?
Yeah.
And definitely, yeah, I mean, you could think about that. And even at work, are you an assimilator at work, or are you a partner?
Right.
And you
Right.
want to be more a partner with your careers and your jobs. You don't want to be just feeding constantly into them. What are you getting fed? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think a keystone of any healthy relationship is the practice of reciprocity. You know, any relationship. And I know sometimes people think, well, parent and child, it's a little different. Like, no, no, especially once your children become adults, or as they're
Yeah.
becoming adults,
Yeah.
teaching them the practice and modeling the practice of reciprocity, and understanding that I'm not here to rule you, I'm not here to run you, I'm here to stand with you, to be with you. And like you said, to find spaces where you can partner with the friends and family, your chosen family, people in your life, so that you really do feel like, okay, this person has my back. This
Yes.
person genuinely supports me. This person also, we have a level of trust where, my friends will pull my coattails like, girl, what are you talking about? When is the last time you took a nap? When is the last time my friends, what are you eating? Are you exercising? And I'm like, oh yeah, girl, I do
Girl,
have
you
a
got
big
some
old
good.
jug of water
You,
now. I upgraded because I
I
wasn't getting
spilled my
hydrated.
water. I spilled my water right before. I was
No.
like, dang it.
But
Anyway,
yeah,
but
those
and
are those are valuable
that's
things.
that's important. And I'll say this, and then we'll share something that we
Okay.
want to feature tonight. And if anybody, if you're watching and you want to put in an extra comment or a question or a thought or what have you, I keep wanting to say Damio and Daria have said a few things. They've just been teasing us. Don't expose our secrets as Scorpios. And then Damio said, just because we chat don't mean we friends. Yeah.
And she's talking about be talking to everyone. She's talking about me. I'll be
Yeah, she
talking. I'll be
does.
talking to everybody.
Yes, she does say
I
you be
like
talking
people.
to everybody.
It's
And I talk to everybody too.
yeah.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I was
You were
gonna say
gonna
there was
talk.
some.
You were saying
What?
before we get into, we're gonna share our resources, but there was another point that you wanted to
I
make.
know there was gonna be one last point. I don't
It'll
remember
come back.
now. Isn't that sad? That's the
It'll
50
come back.
brain.
That's
Yeah,
that.
I
I'd
don't
be
remember.
forgetting. That's I
I
don't
don't
know what
remember.
that's
It was
about.
really important too. It was really like one more thing.
I
Oh,
feel
I
like
know
it's
what I was
gonna.
gonna say. I know
There
what
you
it is.
go.
I got it. Whew,
Okay.
glad I grabbed it. Family. I
Mhm,
do think that can get. I know for me, it's a little, I mean, like my sister is fine. My niece, they get the rhythm of my life.
mhm,
But I will say that when it goes beyond that, my mom, we just had a pretty interesting conversation because she has decided that I'm too busy. So she only will let me call her. And I'm like, no, because now I
mhm.
am only responsible in this, and this is too much pressure for me.
Right.
And so I have been going through this with her for really almost at least a half year, the
Okay.
last several months of me being the only one calling, and her saying over and over, it's because I don't know when's a good time to call. I said, Mom, you're my mother. You can call anytime. My mother,
Anytime.
who's almost 84,
Oh yeah.
anytime you can call. And so I had to really lay it down this past
Mhm.
weekend, and she has called me twice so far this week. She has
Okay.
not done that, I'm telling you, I mean, like in a year.
Mm,
So I was like, thank you for just you initiating. So
yeah.
we don't do schedule because
Oh,
I'm trying to get her to, but
that's
I, but
yeah.
I think family, you do have to really, because family doesn't always, family, blood family, you don't necessarily choose, right? So
Yeah.
that I think you have to kind of think, I don't know, for
I feel
me,
like there's some no, I can align with that. I feel like I think of it like this, like I'm an iPhone and a Mac user. So I use the focus settings. There's, do not disturb, there's personal, there's work, there's etc. There's only like 3 people, and I'm not gonna say who they are because I don't want nobody to get their feelings hurt. There's only like 3 people who can break through any form of like unavailability. I'm a
Yes.
person who puts my
Right.
phone on do not disturb. It goes off at a certain time.
Yes.
Notifications are silenced, but there's 3 people that under any circumstances will be able to reach me no
Yeah.
matter
Same
what.
here. Same here.
And like you said,
Absolutely.
it's just that's just you got to have some
You
lifelines,
gotta
you know
have
what I
you gotta
mean?
have
So,
lifelines. That's
yeah,
really
so I
important.
have some lifelines but I think the same. It's I think what we've shared here is valuable for those who do schedule calls with friends and family and those who don't, to understand that the intention behind it is really to be able to create deeper connection, not
Yes.
separation. That's not what it's for.
Oh my God. That's it. That was the take home. That's the moral of the story. It is not to ostracize you. What's the
No.
word you just used? Because that was
To
it.
create deeper separate is it really I don't know, something really
I don't
cool.
know. You said
I
keep
said,
deeper
okay, I
communication,
said, yeah, I
not
said
to
that,
something cut you off. We're
yeah,
gonna rewind it.
the intention of scheduling calls with friends and family is to create deeper connection, not separation. That's
Yes,
the
not
intention.
separation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I do think it can come across like that. So
it can. Yeah.
all right. All right. So what are you the feature I have tonight is something that I'm hosting, but I'll let you go first. It's
Oh,
small.
well, the thing I wanted to share
Our
was, I know you
spotlight.
shared a book last week, but the thing I wanted to share was kind of on this topic of like scheduling is there's this book that I got a couple of years ago by this woman author named Kate Northrup. And she's the author of another book, but this particular book is called Do Less. I know it's a little backwards, but it's
Oh,
called Do Less.
do
And
less.
it's a revolutionary approach to time and energy management, specifically for busy moms. And what I
Mm,
like about the book is that she touches on, for those who are into astrology, she touches on the importance of creating a schedule and regulating your schedule in sync with your moon cycle, for those who follow
mm.
a moon cycle, and even for those who are no longer menstruating, still following the cycles of the moon, the waxing, the waning, the new moon, the full moon, and recognizing that rhythmically coordinating your schedule with what's happening astrologically can actually help you to feel less inundated, less overwhelmed, more settled, more calm. So yeah, the book is called Do Less by Kate Northrup,
I think
available where books are
I
sold.
love that. Yes, I think I've heard because that name sounds really familiar. So I think I must have
Mhm,
heard her on a podcast. But you made a good point about the moon cycle and
mhm.
understand that even if you are no longer having a period,
Yeah.
your body is still cyclical. Your
Yes.
emotions are still cyclical. The period is
Right.
just the shedding of the uterus.
Right.
Okay. So
That's
and yes,
literally all it
yes,
is.
that's
It
that's
ain't no
all it is.
magical
And so
nothing. Yeah.
the hormones that said go shed, those are
Yeah.
the ones that have decreased, but
That's
it
right.
doesn't change the fact that you still have cycles, that you
Yeah.
still have rhythm, that you still have phases.
Right.
And it's really, 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 really important to honor that. And if you are in perimenopause, don't get caught up by the okey doke. Don't get caught up by the
Right.
hot flash and the this. That means pay attention to these cycles because your body is still having a rhythm going on. It's just the
Right.
hormones that are there, they are shifting, they are changing, but that does
Right.
not equal you no longer have a cycle. You
Cycle.
still,
And even like for
yeah,
women who have had hysterectomies or women who
yes,
haven't menstruated in years, because of that procedure, same, like you said, still moving cyclically just because of our body connection to the planet, to the moon. Like we're still moving in cycles. So the more that we can be in the practice of moving in rhythm, in tandem, in cooperation with these cycles, maybe the time that you arrange your schedule for calls with family members who have lots of things, maybe it's not at the very beginning of your cycle. Okay.
yes.
So be intentional about that. Yeah.
And watch, and those of you who still having periods,
Hmm.
pay attention to how your periods coincide with new moon, full moon, in those
Yeah.
timings. So
Yeah.
I now see that my period loves to wait for a new moon or a full moon. It like
Man,
I literally just now I'm like going to get
we
pregnancy
need
test
like a grand
because I'm like, where's
astrological
my
experience.
period? I know I'm supposed to be parent, but I don't know, you know. And it started new moon, day of that new moon. Ta-da! It started.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, it really, so pay attention to that.
Yeah.
It's so I want to put Daria put before I'll
Okay.
share my
Yeah.
spotlight. She did say something. So I started making calls to each one rather than waiting for that perfect time for in person because the audible communication is more meaningful to me over text messages. And she was talking about before, she has 7 siblings.
Yeah.
And how hard that is coordinating that. Yes, I can only imagine. So yeah, no, I'm all about scheduling, and I'm not a big texter either. That's another. I mean, I tease my sister and my niece because they text very readily, and I'm playing catch up, and it's only them that I would play that level of catch up because they are so close to me. So for my feature, I don't have I had a book last time. So if you check me out, if you go to patreon.com/finding your voice, I have a community for it's really for multicultural. It's mostly Black women, but we really are inclusive of of women of color. And you can be really any age for that. I know I do a lot that says after 40, but I have a group called the VIP Thrive Tribe. And if you join that, you can join for free for 30 whole days just to test us out. But every month we do a health topic where we meet virtually and I pose a topic and we do some journaling. We do some, I do some fun kind of activities just to get everybody engaged in questions. And then I talk about, the topic. And so that's kind of where I put on my coaching hat. But this month, on Monday, so Monday the 27th, we're going to be talking about sleep anxiety. How about that? Yeah. And sleep challenges. So if you're on the struggle bus when it comes to sleep, which I don't know how many people are not at this point, and you want to hear a little bit more information because our bodies are made to sleep.
Yeah.
It's not that you cannot sleep. You absolutely can sleep. There are some interrupters that are happening. And so taking this medication or just understand that, again, just kind of like if you have a cold.
Yeah.
When you take Dayquil, the Dayquil ain't curing your cold.
The cold.
Okay?
It's just suppressing the symptoms so that your body can do what it's naturally meant to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of so that's we want to kind of start tackling that. And then also just talking about in general, lifestyle, like what's going on, and we're living in a world right now that is really competing with our attention for sleep. Okay. And so, yes. And so to the point of when we're talking about cycles and circadian movement, patterns in your body, like wanting to go to sleep when the sun goes down and all of these different things. So we're going to be talking about that. And if you want to join that discussion, you can join it for completely free. After 30 days, then you have the option. It's $19.99 a month. It's still fairly low. You also get a weekly self-care resources. And that's everything from, I always do journal prompts. I have a podcast that I have audio available public, but then there's a video with bonus content. So you get access to that every week. There's another level in the Patreon where you get access to actually getting coaching with me and access to an astrologer, all of that good stuff. So that is my kind of join us for the sleep challenge. If you feel like, and if you, again, maybe you just want to hear that topic. You don't need to hear all the rest. Last month, we talked about the best foods to eat to fight inflammation in our bodies. But it's very more health. We talk about a health topic. And specifically as it relates to women and as our bodies are aging and changing and shifting and moving. Go to patreon.com/finding your voice. So I wonder if I have that in a banner. I don't know if I have that to be able to put
in the banner.
I don't know, but I have this. I'll put this.
Okay.
Email
there
us.
You go.
Interest. So if you have any topics you want us to dig or you want to hear our stories, because as you see, we're just kind of telling our perspectives with this. Obviously, if you want to get more actual coaching, then you can contact one of us. And Keishawn, how do they contact you if they want to get into
They can find me on the easiest way is KeishawnRains.com. It's spelled just like it is on the screen, KeishawnRains.com. You can visit my website. There's ways for you to contact me to schedule a discovery call, which is totally complimentary to just kind of get to know each other, talk about exactly what your goals are, what some of your needs are, and how I can support you. You can also find me on all the socials at Keishawn Rains. And I, inspired by Kenya, to be honest, am developing or have developed an online community as well. And I will be tuning in for this Sleepless Nights well, that's not the name of it, but trouble sleeping conversation.
He said sleepless. We're gonna make it about sleepless nights. That's
Sleepless
what's
nights.
it is
We're
sleepless
tuning in
nights
for
now.
that.
I just put your little scroll, KeyshawnRains.com. I don't want that scroll.
KeyshawnRains.com. Yay, thank
I'm
you,
typing
girl.
off it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can Google me. I'm very easy to find. I'll put it that way. Very easy to find and very easy to catch up with on certain times of the day and certain days of the week, of course. But
She'll send you a schedule link.
I'll send you a schedule link. It's right there on the website. Actually, you can just do it yourself. But yeah, there's ways to keep in touch for sure. And this conversation's been really good. And I hope that anybody who watches it now or watches it later feels a sense of inspiration. And maybe for those who have been asked by a friend or family member to schedule time, understand the intention is it might not be what you think. So, be willing to lean into that and be willing to recognize that it really does come from a place of a desire for connection, a desire to really be present for those moments, because those moments, that's all we got, So yeah, this has been great.
This has been really good. You've given me inspiration. And if anyone of my friends for real are watching this, can we do a genius walk? Can we do that, y'all? I would love to do that, because right now I have been off my walk game because I had my whole, I was talking about it last show, my whole pelvic floor mess. But I'm back. I'm getting back with that. So now I need to get back moving. So
yeah.
But we'll be back again next Thursday night.
Yep. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll be back. And so make sure you guys are subscribed and hitting the bell on the YouTube channels for Keyshawn. This is being streamed on both Keyshawn and mine. And I believe I'm getting streamed on Facebook.
Okay.
I think so.
I think so. That's what they said.
I can't see Facebook comments. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, no, we can only see it on YouTube.
Yeah, I can only see it on YouTube. But yeah, definitely we'll be back. And we'll have another juicy topic. We don't know what it is yet, so we can't announce it.
Yeah.
But we got lots of options. And maybe your topic will be picked. So email us. So.
That's right. Send us an email.
All right. We'll see you guys later. We're going to end the broadcast. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye.